Hi, everybody. It's Chelsea from Youngblood, also of the Badger Beer Report, Mix 6. Um, we are having some fun today, and I'm going to be joined by our favorite, Greg.
Favorite
Nice.
now.
I mean, it sounds good, right?
Absolutely. So what do we have on this Mix 6 this evening, Chelsea?
So today, I was a little inspired by some work stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to go through History of Pabst, current beer trends. I've noticed a couple things popping up and some things that might be on the horizon. Um, the craft beer conference just happened, and it's always fun to do a little chat about that. Plus, we had two breweries that won awards there. Aging beers, I had a little experience this week of trying some beers that were accidentally aged over 10 years. Some of them were good, some of them were weird. I had actually seen a funny video to this week as well of what it's like to be a sales rep in the wild and how it's easy to spot us if you know the signs. And then a little self promotion. Asylum and Youngblood have new beers coming out in the next week. So just wanted to chat about some of those fun things.
Youngblood always got new beer coming out, but we'll leave
But
that.
this one's really fun.
It's always fun. But anyway, we will get to your first topic, which is
the Pabst history or history of Pabst. So Pabst is best known by their PBR. That is everyone's. Well, maybe not everyone's, but I remember drinking it in college. It was the beer that you drank. So it was founded in 1844. It was known as Empire Brewery and then later Best and Company. It was founded by Jacob Best Sr. and his sons. It became Pabst after Frederick Pabst had joined the company in 1864 and 1889. Rose to prominence during the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, and that's how they got the Pabst Blue Ribbon. And then one of my favorite things, I learned about this from Food That Built America. During Prohibition, Pabst turned and started making pasteurized cheese. That was how they were keeping their brewery afloat during Prohibition because no one was buying the beer. And they made a really big enemy out of Kraft Heinz for that. But after Prohibition ended, Pabst like, cool, we're going to go back to making beer. And they actually sold the recipe for Pabst to Kraft Heinz. So Kraft could keep their monopoly on cheeses because Kraft also owns Velveeta. They kind of started losing sales, a lot of popularity in the 1980s. The original brewery complex closed in the mid-90s. And then they started holding some legacy brands like Schlitz and Old Milwaukee. And in the early 2000s, they opened up the Pabst Brewery back up in Milwaukee, and that was more of their innovation center. However, most of their brewing still happens in the San Antonio, Texas area. But recently, they've moved their headquarters to Chicago. And the reason why I bring up the Pabst cheese is because Pabst is really known for stepping out of the box every once in a while. So they did the cheese in Prohibition to keep afloat. I remember this must have been 9 years ago. They made a whiskey that it was an unaged whiskey. I had no high hopes for it. I have a bourbon stewardship, so I was trained on bourbon tastings and whiskey tastings and all that stuff. And the first thing I did was take a sniff of it, and it smelled like jet engine fuel. And I was like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. But it was probably one of the smoothest whiskeys I have ever had, especially a young whiskey. I was shocked. It was so good.
nice.
But, and this just hit the market in the Madison area, Pabst is releasing a Pabst pickle. And I had actually just seen a video by the beer aficionado on Instagram that was talking about how a lot of breweries are taking some hints from spirits of what flavor should be next. And so pickle vodka was huge last year. A lot of people use that as shots. Some people are using that for their base and Bloody Marys. Um,
Mm,
of course, we
mm,
pickle beers last year. I think one of the biggest pickle beers that we had was from Pilot Project Brewing. They made Donna's pickle beer.
mhm, mhm,
Urban
mhm.
Artifact also had a really great pickle beer. But I think with Pabst teaming up with Grillos and making this pickle beer, I think we can see that there'll be a couple more breweries that are going to be following suit and checking that out. So hopefully they're not all bad. We were talking we were talking about it today. Like I would love to have a little pickle beer chaser, but I don't know how I feel about a 12-ounce can of pickle beer. I mean, I
Mhm,
love Grillo's pickles; they're great, but
mhm,
I don't think I could drink a whole can.
mhm, mhm.
um, and then this was making me think too, what could be on the horizon for new flavors. And High Noon, well, I know it's not necessarily a beer, they have a new flavor coming out um, in the market. I think Wisconsin is a tester market for it. It's Transfusion. It's based on a golf cocktail that is Concord grape, lime, and ginger. So that'll be the new flavor. And I thought that was interesting because Youngblood every year comes out with a Transfusion cocktail inspired sour that is also grape and lime and ginger. So I wonder if this is going to be like the new flavor that people are going to start copying and trying to bring into their beer styles or all that kind of stuff. So that's my prediction.
Mhm,
It could just
mhm.
be that it's just two places that are doing it, but I feel like with a place like High Noon trying to bring that into market, it might be the next big thing, especially for summer months coming up.
Yeah, is there a trend that you're seeing that actually surprises you? Is it the pickle beer?
It's actually not. I have a lot of friends that are huge pickle fiends, and I know every time there's a new pickle beer come out, they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna drink it." Just like,
Mhm,
all right, that's fine. Um, Honestly, I haven't really seen anything that I'm like shocked by.
mhm,
That's a necessarily a trend. I remember there was an article. This was probably like 3 months ago. A brewery in Milwaukee, Oregon, not Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
mhm.
teamed up with Patagonia, and they made a beer that they used bear poop in to get the flavors of huckleberry and honey in it. And I am willing to try most things, but I don't think I'm going to try that, and I don't foresee that being a new trend. At least I hope not. Oh God.
Isn't there a better way to impart huckleberry and honey than that?
Probably huckleberry and honey, I'm guessing.
Uh, okay. Does the poop add a smooth mouthfeel, or what is going on? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know. This went off the rails. I'm sorry.
What are we gonna do? All right, all right, all right. So, are we reaching any saturation points with some of our styles? Do you think, like maybe cold IPAs or smoothie sours or any of
I
that?
think I think maybe not necessarily like cold IPAs, but I think with IPAs, it's starting to see like people are getting tired of the different styles. Um, I
Oh,
feel like a lot of people are trying to go back to doing the West Coast style or just like the simple IPAs instead of focusing on the triple IPAs or I mean a lot of places that I go to they're looking strictly for just a hazy IPA. They don't want all the double dry hop, triple dry hopped, smoothie, milkshake, all that crazy stuff. I think a lot of it's going back to yes, yes, IPA fatigue.
oh. Okay. Well, thank you, Badger Beer Report. Oh, that's me.
Oops. No, I usually call it hopped out. I have been hopped out for
Mm.
many years.
Okay. Okay.
Every once in a while I'll drink an IPA, but I usually go for a lager or a pilsner or something lighter first because the bitterness is just too much these days for me.
All right. All right. I had a Pabst question if we could go back quick.
Yeah, of course.
So Pabst, I would say, or I think, and a lot of people think, is like the ultimate survivor brand. They've been around forever, carnating themselves, reintegrating, not rebranding per se. But do you think their recent growth is purely nostalgia, or have they successfully cracked the code on what modern drinkers think? But I don't. I could be wrong.
I think it's nostalgia, especially for millennials that, like I said, remember PBR being the cheap beer that we could afford when we were still in college or getting out of college and drink it easily. And with the IPA saturation and craft saturation, sometimes you just want a light beer, and sometimes it's just going to be a PBR or something like that. I think it's smart for them to stick to what they know. I know earlier this year they were doing some branding with Godzilla, and they're bringing back the 99 can box, part of the whole Godzilla thing with it.
Mhm.
So they still like to stay relevant enough, but they know what they have, so they're not going to be like, hey, now we have PBR sours. I think they have a good thing. They know what they're doing, and they're still staying relevant by still staying true of how they are, who they know they are. Um, and like sometimes like the quirky stuff like the pickle beer, there'll be people that will buy that just because it's a Pabst pickle beer and awesome. And after it's through its production, then it'll be like, okay, well, what's next?
All right, all right. Well, other things are going on here in the craft beer world.
Yes. So by we, I mean I have no connection to it. I didn't get to go this year. The craft beer conference just happened in Philadelphia. It goes from August 20th to August 22nd. It is a place where fellow brewers, distillers, and fermentators get to gather and talk. A lot of times it's seminars, running your business, how to reach the market that you want to reach. There's also an expo that goes on, Brew Expo. That's a good spot to learn about more hops, more malts, all the fun stuff that we need to make delicious beers and other fermented drinks. And then it culminates in the World Beer Cup, which is one of the most prestigious awards during the year for beer. And this year, Wisconsin had two winners. Um, Vintage won for their Belgian double, and Vault 202, or 202? No,
202.
it is 202. Okay, good. I was right at that. They won
Yeah.
for their Italian Pilsner. Now that's a sandwich, which I love. It's such a great name. But we still have Wisconsin
Well,
brewers that are competing in this, and they're still winning and still showing people that, we're not only good at drinking beer, but we're good at making beer.
we love Volt here at Badger Beer Report for many reasons. But the biggest reason, of course, Chelsea, is you gave me an in. I'm going to take it.
Go
We
for
have
it.
the classic collaboration, class of 25 collaboration beer. This is released Saturday at Volt 202. It was released. It is out at Boulder Junction. If y'all find yourselves in the North Woods, I was just there sampling. This is going to be a great. It is a great beer. It's a really nice, smooth, um, dangerous Chelsea. Dangerously drinkable for
Uh
you know what I mean. For my box. You have one or two of these, and you think you can go for that third, but you might want to rethink that. But this is out this weekend, y'all. Check all the brewery details. Check all the breweries, whether it's Fond du Lac, Vault, Mobcraft, Lombardi, Last Ditch, Tailwinds, St. Francis, Boulder Junction, Brewed Omen. And I don't think Last stitch. Got some last stitch. Got some last stitch on here. Huh? Some big
Ooh.
energy. Yay! So yes, but yeah, it was so really commenting on the Vault 202 win. So I was watching live and I just didn't know who was, when you watch live, you just hear random things. I just heard Appleton, Wisconsin. And I was like, wait, Appleton, Wisconsin. So I missed the part about Vault, if that makes sense. I had just heard,
Oh, we just heard
you know,
Appleton.
yeah. So then it went by. So I had to like I reboot, because again, it was on YouTube, y'all. So you were able to like pause it and go back if you have that, whatever that, what is it? I don't know, the pause feature or whatever. So I went back and I saw his Vault and I was like, yeah. It was like a sports boss, like, championship win, Chelsea is how I took it.
Oh, yeah.
I was out of my media person and more into my fanboy kind of thing. So that was really fun. And we don't really, Joel was trying to find out whether, how many submissions Wisconsin had or how many submissions, in comparison to other ones, because it seemed Joel said it felt really low because there's only 2 winners and we usually have like 5 or something. And it
Yeah.
was interesting, Chelsea, too. No Lakefront showing up, no New Glarus. They are definitely the standard bearers here as far as being, award winning and always having their beers at these places, right? Because Chelsea, actually, I would love for you to talk about what it takes to get your beers to these places, right? And that kind of barrier sometimes, right, that brewers don't want to do, because some of our best is never going to be displayed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it'll never get to that. I don't know if you want to speak to that. And then, yeah, I love vintage and I love Vault. I've had multiple birthdays of vintage. I love Vault. So it was just great to see both of them win. But yeah, what's going on?
So I wish I knew more details. Like we all know, I used to work for a brewery that did win last year at the World Beer
Mhm,
Cup.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and I honestly I don't know if it's just one of those that there's always a lot of stuff going on, especially during this time of year for a lot of breweries. We're
Yep,
gearing
yep.
up for summer season. It's a lot of getting ready to just sell beer all summer long, hopefully, if the weather finally is nice and doesn't storm on us. Um, but there's a good chance that, Lakefront, they have a lot of stuff going on, especially if the storms that happened knocked out some of their solar panels to one of their
Mhm.
warehouses. Um, New Glarus, they're still building, their new complex over there. There could just be any number of things, just like, you know what, maybe this
Yeah.
year we're just not going to enter anything this year, and maybe come back next year, ready to um,
And maybe
win
they
some more.
submitted and lost.
Yeah,
Maybe they submitted and lost. There's that, right? So like, there's that, you don't, if they don't tell us who's, or who has entered, it's kind of hard to see who has lost.
they'll just put on like this category
Yeah.
had 52 entries or this category had
Yeah.
36 entries. So we don't really get to know the specifics of it, but
Yeah.
maybe next year.
Yep. And then lastly, unless you have other things, or we can move along. So the buzz out of Philly, I was, checking a little bit. It seemed to be focused on taproom experience and hospitality. Do
Yeah,
you feel that that's what should be going on, knowing what you know here on the ground in Wisconsin?
I think so. I think a lot of breweries are seeing that distribution is getting hard outside of tap rooms, getting people to buy your beer when they're going to the liquor store, going to the grocery store, any of that stuff. It's difficult to get people to pick up your beer unless they're already big fans of it. So if you can find a way to get people to come into your tap room, buy the beer there, and enjoy the time there, the long time they spent there, the more time they're going to buy your beer, the more likely they'll be a fan of your beer and keep coming back. I know the keynote speaker they had, he was one of the producers on The Bear. He wrote a book that was
Hmm,
coming out this year as well
hmm,
about hospitality in just the service industry in general. So I know he was talking about how to increase your hospitality and how to become a more inviting space for patrons to come and enjoy your beer. Um, coming from a service industry background, I think that's a huge thing. I think sometimes breweries get caught up in what kind of beer are we serving? Are we doing the coolest beers that we can do? When you really want to make sure that the people that are serving your beer are engaging and connecting with your guests as well.
hmm, hmm. And a lot of stories I hear about y'all, and I mean by y'all, I mean kind of brewers sometimes forgetting your locals,
Yes.
forgetting what. Yes, Chelsea, you seem strong in this. So you want to talk about that?
um, I came from Kenosha. One of the local breweries for us was Public. They started in a small little tap room. Um, they had good beer. They had a gingerbread double that I really liked. Um, but then they wanted to do more. They wanted to have a kitchen. They wanted to have food. They wanted to have a bigger space. They wanted more space to have bands playing. They wanted to like be like a wedding venue destination. So they bought a bigger building right before COVID hit. So COVID hit, they didn't have the guests they were thinking of. They had a hard time retaining staff in the kitchen. They filed for Chapter 11 a couple years ago. Lakefront bought them out, and we're hoping that they could still produce what they were producing before, but it just kind of seemed like the passion for the beer was kind of just gone at that point there. The beer was okay. It wasn't great beer. It wasn't bad beer. It was just not. I had discussion before, like if you have good beer, that's great. But having good beer isn't necessarily a
Mhm.
reason to go into distribution. Sometimes just having good beer at your tap room is enough to keep you afloat. Distribution right now is a whole other beast. And if you really want to succeed, you have to make really great beer, really something that's not really in the market yet, but people want. And I think that's a huge thing that some breweries are just starting to understand now, which is a bummer. But I'm hoping that more will find that out and more likely keep their beer at the tap room and not have the added cost of distribution. But
Yeah, and we got the public because I specifically asked or about remembering your locals, the people who are there all the
yes,
time. So you think public lost that in somewhere, and this
I
is what I was hearing?
Yeah, I think they were kind of like, you know what, we want to become a destination place instead of just, you know, I worked at a restaurant a block away from Public and I would go sit there for a half an hour during my break between a double and have a beer and then go back to work. Um, it kind of got to the point of like they weren't really um, approachable, I guess I would say. The
Mhm.
bigger space, it never seemed like it was full. It never seemed like it was a welcoming spot for people unless there were large events going on. And usually those events were planned by somebody outside of Public.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and especially after um, going under Lakefront's wing, it kind of seemed like they never really got back the passion and the ownership and the community need that they needed to be for Kenosha, which is a bummer because they had a lot of great stuff for them when they first started. But sadly,
yeah.
it ended.
Well, I think we're moving along, but before we do, I will be. I like to mention Rustic Road, which is still in
Yes,
Kenosha, which I
yes,
had a very good time there. My one visit, I thought it was very cozy and nice, and the beer was good, and the service was great, and the food was excellent. So, right around
they're
the
great
corner
people over
too,
there. Yeah,
right around the corner, like
yep.
literally feet away, y'all. So, get into Rustic Road, and Chelsea wants to get into aging beers or something.
I had a really fun experience this week.
Mhm.
I was on an account. He decided to bring up some bottles they had in the basement that were
Mm.
at least 10 years old. Some of them were weird in a great way, and some of them were weird in not a great way. One that I
These
really
ones?
liked.
These, right?
The two outside ones, the
Okay.
Earthrider one I brought in because those are always aged, and I've had about four different versions of aged ones, and they always taste great. And I think there's a reason why. My experience. So I tried the Juliet from Goose Island. I believe the one I tried was from 2013, um, and it was a great beer. It had the tannin flavor from the um, oh my god, the barrels they were aged in, and they brewed it with blackberries, so I added like the tartness to it, and the tannins from it really kind of mixed well together, and it was just a really great sour beer. Like a just an aged. It was beautiful. I loved it. It was great. On the flip side, I had this Brett yeast and Hell's bottle that was also probably about 10, 11 years old. That did not hold up well, and obviously because it was a Brett yeast and a
Yeah.
Hell's lager, they typically don't do well aging. It oxidizes really fast, and when you oxidize, you get that stale paper taste, and it was just kind of like it was underwhelming, and then you got a little bit of flavor, but it was just kind of like not a pleasant experience, which was a bummer. And then Cedar Red, I know this very well from when I worked at Earthrider. The Cedar Red is brewed with the Alois Amber Ale. It's a second fermentation in French oak barrels, I believe. And that second fermentation really helps add fruitiness to that red ale. And I feel like the longer it sits, the more complex the flavor gets. And I really think it just comes from if the breweries are making these kind of fermentation style beers, aged beers, do it in the barrels will add down that level of complexity to it, but it's also going to lend itself to age better, whether you're aging it on purpose or whether it's a bottle that you forgot in your basement for 10 years and you're like, hey, let's see how it tastes.
Yeah, okay. As a cicerone, what is the biggest red flag you look for when someone hands you a bottle that's 5 years old, 7 years old?
I usually look first to see what the beer originally was.
Okay.
Sours do well, stouts do well, but even those sometimes have their downsides if they're not aged in like right cooling temperatures or anything like that. You know, you could have a stout that tastes like balsamic vinegar. It's like it's such a bummer. It's like, oh, this was so good 5 years ago, and now it's a great dressing for salad to make later. Which I mean, there's always something to use it for if you look at it that way. Lighter beers, they don't age well. Even if they're in like a brown bottle or can, they're light beers and they're meant to be enjoyed fresh. That's going to keep the crispness to it. They're going to keep that bubbly taste to it. The longer they sit, even if they're unopened, the more likely it's just going to taste like a stale old beer, even if it's like 6 months old. Which is why a lot of breweries will have shelf lives for a lot of our beers. A lot of the times it's about 180 days, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it's on the shelf longer. Or if you ever noticed, like Heineken or Coronas have that skunky taste, that starts happening immediately because it's a clear bottle. It's a light beer. It gets that skunk. Some people like it. It's great. I don't. I'm guessing you don't either.
No. We don't really have to labor that point. Is there a style that people think ages well, but almost always falls apart? Is there one that like there's a mystify that we can demystify now?
I think a lot of people think that if you have a sour, it's going to age well, but it has to be like a specific sour, like a mixed fermentation, and like I said, like the Evil Twin, the Brett, it doesn't lend itself to aging very well.
Okay. So not all sours age equally, is what I'm hearing.
Honestly, it's hard to. I mean, like I said, the types that do pretty well are stouts and sours, but sometimes there's just something wacky going on that it just doesn't work out that well either.
Yeah, and I'm gonna flat out say, do not age your IPAs.
Please don't.
Right. Even like, but I think people can get like, you know what I mean? Like, lured by like a triple IPA or double I. Don't do this. Drink it immediately.
Fresh. Don't let it sit.
Right. That's a don't do, right? We could say that firmly. Don't age your IPA. Amen. So, what's going on with the distributors? You wanted to talk about that.
Yes. So I saw this funny video on Instagram. I sent it to Billy. We had a laugh because it's true. It just basically said that if you see this like a salesman in the wild, typically looks like they're in a toxic relationship because they're always looking at their phone very intently out in public. Like if you're walking, downtown Madison and you see somebody on their phone or an iPad
Mhm.
and they're just staring at it intently, most likely there's a salesperson. It's because an account needed something and they're like, I thought I did that, and they're checking to make sure that something happened or something didn't happen. And at one point in the video, like the guy's like looking at his phone, and then like someone's approaching him, so they do the side step to get out of the way, and then they move
Mm.
back again. And it's just, if you want like a funny way of seeing if you can find a sales rep in the wild, that's a really good way of like, or a vendor like myself, like we'll be looking at our phone like, really, and they're like typing stuff out because it's usually emails or some kind of text group that we have to reply back to, and they're so
Mhm.
focused, and then we'll
Mhm.
just put it away and just walk on our way. And
Mhm.
you can see it on the public. A lot of times it's like grocery store, liquor stores, if we have to look something up real quick. um Amount of times that I was at like a Woodman's in the beer section and had somebody
Freaking
else
out.
asking me a question, emailing me, and I'm like
You're freaking out.
iPad on a stack of beer and just scrolling through it trying to find something.
I will say, y'all are fun at a meat raffle.
We're fun in general.
Y'all, it's just intense, and we just sometimes roll up on you at an intense time, right? Is that the
Yes.
okay?
I mean,
Okay,
honestly,
okay.
a lot of the time we're all fun-loving people. I mean, we're in the beer
Absolutely.
industry. We like beer.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're just like, I have to focus on this right now and take care of this. And they're like, okay,
Mhm.
cool. Who am I going to talk to next? Who am I going to have a beer with
Mhm.
next?
Right. Well, while we're here, can I ask a distributor question?
Sure.
Excellent, excellent. So, what's I know you love answering this one, but I don't think it's asked enough. It's something that you've heard before, but it's definitely, in my opinion, not asked enough because I don't think people connect these dots. Which is, what's the biggest challenge for a small brewery trying to get eyes on their product in that cooler, Chelsea? Like what?
It's
Like you mentioned
sometimes
Woodman's, it's madness at Woodman's. It's
it
madness
is.
in a
It's really,
great way,
and
mostly. But I get scared if I'm like some small brewer. I'd be like,
the crazy thing with women's, like a lot of them operate on the same mentality otherwise, but sometimes like what one woman does, the other one's not going to do. They're going to kind of change it up a little bit. I used to have Woodman's in Kenosha as my account, and I had a nice little area. I had two coolers that I was able to use for Wisconsin only beers. I put Asylum, Capital, Carbon 4, all that stuff there. And then for everything that was not in Wisconsin was in a separate cooler opposite side. Um, Not all of them operate that way. And sometimes I think with Kenosha, they kept the distributors in their own areas. So GB had their own area, Beechwood had their own area, CJW had their own area, WDI had their own area. Um, and it went from craft to um, outside the state craft, imports, seltzers, RTDs. Um, but they weren't always linked the same way. And there's been a couple women's that I've gone to where I have had Youngblood over here, and then 5 coolers down, Carbon 4 and LSM. We're down that way. Not that it's a bad thing, but sometimes it sucks and I have to take pictures. um, but to get into those places, I think this goes back to what I said, that you want to have a great beer. You want to have something that if you're looking in the cooler and you see that there are already 3 or 4 other amber ales, maybe don't pitch an amber ale to the buyers of that place. Maybe try to see if you can bring in a sour that's not being done, or maybe a stout, or maybe a pilsner that you really like. But try not to lead with what everyone else has. Try to lead with a beer that you think is special to you, and then you can bring in the other styles that are more popular. But they're going to look at seeing what do you have that they don't already have, and then make a decision based on that. I know one of the big ones for that is Total Wine. If you submit stuff to them, they are looking for what they don't have. Um,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
it's a fun game.
Well, that's tough because brewers like to brew a lot of things that other brewers are brewing.
Yeah. Well, and like, so an example,
Right.
here in Wisconsin, Earthrider, they had Tap Shack and Blueberry Honey at Total Wine, because those were two beer styles they didn't see a lot of. Tap Shack is a Caribbean style beer, and the Blueberry Honey Cream Ale, not a lot of people were doing. But we had a hard time bringing in our pale ale and our IPA because they already had so many other breweries that had pale ales and IPAs that they're just
Mm.
like,
Mm.
well, how is this different from Three Sheep's Fresh Coast? If it's the same kind of pale ale, like what's the difference? We already have a pale ale on the shelf. How do we make money off of that?
Mm.
Which I understand from a business standpoint,
Mm.
but as a brewery
Mm.
standpoint, it really
Mm.
sucked.
Mhm. 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 Wow. Okay. Okay. So there's a lot of the answer is there's a lot of challenges here.
There's a lot of challenges. I wasn't lying
Right.
when going to
Right.
distribution is tough.
Well, yeah, and then now we're back to kind of full circle. If we wanted to, the craft beer conference, and I'm talking about taproom experience and hospitality, right? So
Yes.
now, right, so that's it just really feels like that's the force of what we're dealing with as far as breweries and small breweries, and that big, the big scale that distribution and the big problems that bring the distribution. We see like, yeah, they're just distributing, I can get it easier. But the brewer, on some levels, like, ooh, this is going to be interesting, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so it's not that cut and dry, y'all. But what is cut and dry, Chelsea, is that there's some new things rumbling with the brand that you represent. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was super excited when I heard about this. Ale Asylum, for the first time in 4 years, has a new beer coming out. It's called Desert Island Dissident. It is a steam beer. Um,
Oh, oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh.
Um,
Okay. Attention,
so
attention.
if you remember
Mhm.
Anchor Steam, it's the steam beer that was popular in 19th century. And the fun thing was that we brought back Dean Coffee. He worked with Kyle on this recipe. This is something that Dean has wanted to do for a long time. Um, so him and Kyle worked on this recipe, and Dean has always been a little into the steampunk stuff. So we came up with this really cool can art. Um, really a beer that hasn't been done from Ale Asylum or really a lot of breweries lately. So I'm really excited that this is like a new style of beer coming to the market. And it's coming out Saturday. You're on mute. There you go.
Just in time for the Great Taste ticket sales, which I will be at on
Yes.
Saturday. So,
So Carbon 4, it'll be obviously Ale and Carbon 4 have the same tap room. So you can
be
try
there.
some when you're doing the competition at Carbon 4 for great taste tickets.
Yes, yes, it's always fun. That Stein thing they do, and they got all kinds of weird kind of things going on there, y'all. And actually, yeah. So, I just visited Los Apostle up in Washburn. They are our second newest brewery because Gravity Boxes slid into Wisconsin Dells, but they had a comment on Chelsea and a
Ooh.
California comment, and also they call it a real quick side note. They just came out 2 weeks ago, right? But they have like 6.5 beers that like, and y'all will be able to hear a podcast of me and Badger, who is the owner of Los Pasos, talk about this. But they rolled out 5 beer shots and they called them collaboration beer, or no, I'm sorry, calibration beers.
Ooh.
Meaning, yes, meaning we are working on this. So like so they push the beers out and they want their people to tell them what's good. Is it good, crisp enough?
Oh,
Do
I
we
love
change it?
that.
Yeah, so before and then that's how they're gonna like almost see how, because I asked them like, what are y'all's flagships? And I'm like, we don't pick them, our people pick our flagships, and we will brew whatever they do. So, but they put the calibration porter, IPA, California Common, and I was like, oh,
Oh, I
this is
love
nice.
that.
And I love the messaging and the messaging, Chelsea, right? Like we're new, we're trying new things. Just
Let us know
be
what you like and what you
let
want
us
to
know
see
what
from
you like.
us.
and also be ready for that porter to maybe change the next time you come in, and that's
Hmm.
because we're tweaking it. If you don't like that change, tell us. If you
Yeah.
love that change, tell us. So I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like it's almost like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, and that's going back again to the whole hospitality thing of like listening to your guests and like, hey, what do
Mhm.
you guys want to see from us? And I
And
think that's a really good way of making beer. I mean, especially for a new
amen.
place.
So bringing it back, they have a California Common, and that's why I could link the two, y'all. And one of my favorite beers is a steam beer. So if this is like the renaissance of steam beers, let's go, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And it's just really nice to see Ale Asylum jump in. It's really interesting to have Kyle, the brewer of Youngblood, chiming in, y'all. And y'all know, you may not know, the word on the street is Kyle is an excellent lager. Or
he
ale.
is.
Obviously, we know his ales are amazing with the sours and IPAs, right? But that man could brew a lager. He just don't want to. So it's fine. Mm.
It's he made one a couple maybe it was a couple months ago. Oh man, it was so
Yeah.
good. I got a sample case and I kind of held on to it without bringing it out into public because I didn't want other people to drink it because that was all for me and that's what I wanted.
There you go. Would you like to do you have a remark for the comment here, Chelsea?
I sure do. So, steam beer, which is also known as California Common, like you were saying, is a hybrid beer that has lager yeast that's brewed at warmer temperatures than a usual lager beer is. It still has a light to medium amber color. It's clear, not hazy. And it has a little bit of malt or hop bitterness to it, not a lot. It's a very malty beer, a lot of
Mhm.
carameliness to it. They're not high in ABV either, which is nice. So again, like someone like myself that's all hopped out, a steam beer is it's a good beer to have if you want a light beer, but you still want some kind of taste to it.
Amen to that. And apparently this has some kind of taste to it, Chelsea.
Yeah. So this is Youngblood's very first gluten-free fruited sour.
Mm.
Um, this was originally made for American Family Field. We are selling this during Brewers games. It's delicious. But it's the Pony Club, as you can tell from the neon pink pony that we have on there. It's basically our basic fruit punch sour. It's got passion fruit, it's got guava, it's got orange, and we're really excited about it. It's hitting distribution next Monday on the 4th, I believe. And I've been out hitting the streets the last week and a half trying to get the good word out. So we'll have some more gluten-free options throughout the area, which I think sometimes is sadly lacking.
Yeah, and my follow-up here would be we know the difference between regular beer and gluten-free beer. I mean, the difference is lesser mouthfeel and stuff like that on the gluten-free ones, right? But other than that, I mean, it kind of, drink like any other. Is that kind of the same thing with the sour beer? Like, is there
It
something that
is.
distinctive about the gluten-free sour that is going to be distinctive than a normal sour
So
from Youngblood, for example?
for me, I mean, I drink a lot of sours now.
Okay.
Fruit punch sour is our bread and butter at Youngblood. That's what they're most known for. Anytime we release fruit punch sour, it sells pretty well. So it's nice we use that for our base for this gluten-free sour.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I
mm.
think the only thing that I've noticed with a gluten-free sour from us, a lot of our beers come in about 5 to 7%, with some of our pastry sours coming in at 9%. This comes out at 4.8% ABV. So it's a really light beer. It's a patio pounder, as we like to say. You can have a couple of these and feel okay after the day. Um, yeah, it's just
Mm, okay.
I'm excited. It doesn't taste like a gluten-free beer. It tastes like a Youngblood sour.
Mm,
It's bright pink. It's a
mhm.
beautiful color. I love it. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I've been pushing it the last couple of weeks that counts at liquor stores, and I'll be doing tastings throughout the month of May to really amp up excitement for it.
And a win for gluten-free beer drinkers, right?
Yeah. Especially since I think the word is that Lakefront might be discontinuing the Gozerita, which is one of their gluten-free beers. They still have their new Grist, which is a great gluten-free beer,
Mm-hmm.
but hopefully our gluten-free sour kind of fills in that emptiness in the market.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Look at that. Look at that rep selling, y'all.
So I get paid the big bucks.
Yes, yes. Well, so unless Chelsea, if we would like to wrap it up here, unless you have something else to talk about as far as mixed six topics go.
I do
Something we
not,
missed?
but I do
Something
believe we have a Patreon that people can subscribe to.
Yes, yes, yes. And Joel's doing a really bang up job with the newsletter, y'all. We also have actually there's a brewery that I'm going to probably go off on in Patreon. Chelsea, you heard. Yeah, awkward.
I
Yeah, awkward. So
thought.
Patreon has my deep thoughts. It'll probably have my deep thoughts on a brewery that I am not fond of now because of a recent travel thing. And so we'll talk about that on Patreon. And you can get that, y'all, by subscribing. I think we have, what is it, $3, $5, and $10. Joel has this weekly newsletter that is filled with stuff that you will not see outside of our Patreon. He talks to brewers directly. He also has a flight program where he talks to brewers about, they go through a flight of beer, Chelsea, and they talk about each beer like
I
separately,
love it.
and they sip it and they go through the science of it and the meaning behind it. This is all hiding on Patreon, y'all. So y'all have to unlock it by sponsoring and keeping the lights on here at Badger Beer Report,
And
because
also, aren't you doing something fun with the Madison Homebrewers and Tasters Guild?
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. So yeah, so you'll learn all that stuff on Patreon, and you'll get all those first. But you can also do. We are also having our own sponsored homebrew competition, and I'm excited for it. We will have the winner, the grand prize winner, gets their beer brewed at Sunshine Brewing, and it will show up. It will be on tap at the Great Taste of the Midwest, Chelsea. So
Yeah.
you can have your homebrewers, man. There's get a bigger spotlight than the Great Taste of the Midwest for us. Come on. So like we need y'all's best summer beer. Caleb, the brewer from Sunshine, and maybe Chelsea, and people who are going to be on that final table there, because it'll be Badger Beer Report people, and it'll be Caleb and his select guests if he wants to bring anybody to bring in to, and then we're gonna pick the best summer beer, y'all, because we want it to be displayed for everyone at the Great Taste. And Chelsea knows how collaborations and beers at the Great Taste really go hard, and you can have your beer at the Great Taste, y'all. So
And if
let's
hundreds of people drink it, it's great.
absolutely. So this is the biggest stage that I think Badger Beer Report can get your beer and get you to do that. So that's the basis behind the summer mashup. It's the first annual. We have wonderful prizes. We have 50 pounds of malt for the first place winner. We have a bounty of hops from Hop Garden. We have some yeast from the Yeast Bay. So we have all kinds of prizes to win. The homebrew club outside of the Madison Homebrewers Club will win a bounty of hops for the most entries for your club. So, looking at y'all, Milwaukee, where you can drop off at Amorphic, or looking at y'all, there's a drop off in Sheboygan Falls too. So, how y'all? There you go. The QR code's there. We have a QR code here. It's a lot of fun. We love to support homebrewers, and so that's the QR code right up there. It's also in there. So thank you, Chelsea, for giving me a chance to talk about this. We are excited. You can find all that on our socials. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay, homebrewers. Let's go. Uh the Patreon rules, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna I don't like to talk bad about breweries, but when y'all do like what this brewery did, in my opinion, or what, not my opinion, really good
What
sources,
they
we'll talk
did.
about all
Yeah.
this. We'll talk about all this. Head over to Patreon. It should be there. I gotta carefully word this, Chelsea, because I can't be like talking bad about breweries, but this one is, y'all got under my skin. Chelsea
Uh-oh.
saw it.
I did. It was juicy. I was like, more.
Yeah, no, I don't like being angry, but that wasn't, I couldn't. So anyway, Chelsea, do we have any final words, and you can take us out the best way you know,
Uh,
please?
get ready for summer. We're gonna have a lot of great beer hitting the shelves. And especially with the homebrew stuff going on, I guarantee you it's gonna be some really tasty beers happening. So I'm excited. Drink beers. Hang outside.
Oh yeah, and also, is there any news from Youngblood that
Oh
you want to talk
yeah.
about, or no? I
I
mean,
I can't say a
I would love to
specific
hear it.
date yet because we're still not too sure.
Okay, no
We're
date, no
still
date.
hoping mid-May.
Okay,
I know, I know.
okay,
It's
okay,
like down to the details now, but
all right. Well, thank you, Chelsea, for another fun and engaging and entertaining and educational. Look at me with all the ease.
whoa.
And I'm going to get out of here with that. Mix six. It was fun as usual. Thank you again, Chelsea.
Thank you, and thank you